grades don't count. Right? They don't count. You can get an F and it won't matter. Just to let you know. But it's important that when you're in the 7th grade, you develop good homework habits early on. So when it does count, you'll be ready. The 8th grade, by the 8th grade it counts. So, okay, here's the strategy. When you're in the 8th and 9th grade, do well, don't screw up. Because, now this is important, because you know how the GPA system works? It's basically an amalgamation of your 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grades. This is what your college will be looking at. This is one of the most important aspects of your college application process, right? They'll want to see your grades in school, they'll want to see extracurriculars, they'll want to see SAT grades, and one of the most important things is your GPA. So in the 8th and 9th grades, you want to do really well. You want to take advantage of the fact that it's probably going to be a gift to you, right? You want to do very well. You can scrape by getting A minuses, but don't do that. Get your A's and A pluses. So by the time you hit the 10th and 11th grade, you can afford to get B's and B pluses. I did, alright? And I'm pretty sure, okay, I'm not trying to be racist here, but you are going to get your B's and B pluses in English, in social studies, and in language, okay? Not in math, not in science, it's going to be these 3 things. So, you want to be sure that you have some buffer. And I'm not saying, fail 10th and 11th grade, you don't want to do that either, but you want to do the best that you can. And when the best that you can isn't up to par, you're alright, because you have your 8th and 9th grades to fall back on. Okay, so what else do I want to talk about? Oh, how many of you guys are going to be juniors next year? A lot of, no? Oh, okay, you're going to be a junior? Okay, well, for everyone who's going to be a junior, either next year or 2 years from now or whatever, it's going to be the hardest time of your life. And this is when you just...
Senior first semester.
Oh, I was going to talk about that too. Okay, well, okay, so it's basically all of junior year and first semester senior year. But they're hard in different ways. Like, okay, I'll talk about junior year first. So, junior year is hard in the way that it's never ending, and it's painful, and it's just when you first start out in junior year, you may be you may settle into this false sense of, oh, okay, so this is junior year, not that bad. But then, as soon as like first quarter ends, or you get hit with a truck of work and really mean teachers and Miss Termini and stuff like that. So it's really, U.S. history is hard, right? It's really boring. U.S. history is boring. And what else? It's going to be the first year that you're going to take AP courses. So AP courses are just plain hard. If you take AP Chem, it's just disgusting. And like, yeah, so junior year is really, really hard because your course load is exponentially greater than what it was previously. Your teachers demand more of you. Your teachers see you as adults now. Your teachers don't care what other teachers give you that day. Right? You have tests every other week. And, plus, you'll be doing extracurriculars. Right? They'll be eating up all your free time. You'll have clubs, and you'll be on a sports team. And you'll have to fulfill all these other so-called requirements for getting to college. And before you know it, you're not watching TV anymore. You're skipping lunch to do homework. I never did that, but I always had to have my lunch. But, you gotta do what you gotta do, and it's pretty bad. First semester senior year is hard in a different way, because the maximum number of classes you can take is 6. And what I did was, I kind of I didn't know that it was, I had it pretty easy because I had 2 internships. So basically, I had 1 internship in school and 1 internship outside. It was my HSP, Hunter Scholars Program, which if I don't explain to you, these guys will. So basically, I only had 4 academic classes, which is really great because if you're gonna want to take either 5 or 6, right? Otherwise, colleges won't like you, and you're not gonna be taking easy classes either because colleges won't like you. So if you take 5 or 6 really hard classes, legitimate classes like AP courses, it's gonna be really hard. But I only had 4, so it was pretty easy for me. Yeah. But I mean, I did a lot of other things too, so it's not like I had it easy. I mean, first semester senior year was hard because you had to actually learn how to manage your time. I put this on myself because I was on the track team. I've been on the track team for 4 years. And I also had this outside internship. And I had to go to Bushiban for APs and stuff. So I'll describe to you my schedule. All right, this is, if there's anything I took away from Hunter that was practical, it was how to manage my time effectively. Okay. I woke up in the morning at 5:30, so I could get to school by 7 o'clock, so I could do my track practice. School starts at 8:08, so I ate breakfast in first period class, and then I went through school. And then in the afternoons, I would do whatever I had to do. Mondays and Fridays, I had to go to work downtown. So I got home at maybe 8 or 9 o'clock every single night. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I had track practice again. And so I got home around 7:30. Wednesdays, oh, and I had track meets on the weekends, and I had to go to Columbia for a science program on Saturdays. So I didn't have my weekends either. It was terrible. So that's why first semester senior year is hard. It's because you have all these other things that you have to do, and you have to apply to college at the same time. It's a lot of pressure. And all right. So it's really bad. But you don't. Have you ever heard of senioritis? No? Never heard of senioritis? Good. Because you don't want to fall into that trap of senioritis, because once you pop, you don't stop. It's terrible. Like, if you as soon as you let a little bit, second semester senior year, if you let a little bit, then you just won't do work anymore. If you don't do work anymore, your grades will drop. If your grades drop, you will get rescinded from college, and your family will disown you. So you don't want to fall into that either. Okay. So that's how you want to tackle Hunter. I don't know if I've given you a very good roadmap, but I'm sure all you 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever graders will see what I mean when you are in the thick of all your work. You'll remember what I'm saying right now. Oh, by the way, you will all become procrastinators. This is just how it is. When you get into Hunter, you'll find that you're doing everything last minute. You don't know why. I mean, everyone does it. No one doesn't do it. It just happens. But because you are in Hunter, you know that you have to finish your work. Doesn't matter how you do it. Doesn't matter when you do it. You will be pulling all-nighters. You will get it done. And you will make sure your grades don't drop, because that's just how you are. You are in Hunter. Okay? Okay, I'll talk about the college process now. Okay, how many of you guys are thinking about college? Just Lisa. Samson, you're thinking about college. You're thinking about college. You're thinking about college too. Don't lie. Alright? So, okay, college. Basically, there are like There are like, what, like 3,000, 4,000, there are like a bajillion colleges in the United States, right? And your parents will probably only make you look at the top 20 in the United States. Probably the top 20 in the US News World Report. Well, if that's how it is, then that's how it is. But you don't want to apply to 20 colleges either. That's a little bit... I had a friend and she applied to 33 colleges. And sure, she got into some really great colleges, but that's just stupid. So don't do that either. Like, you know, pick a good, like, you know, 10 that you want to get into. Some safeties, some colleges you know you can get into because you know how your grades are, you know how your SATs are, and you're pretty sure you can get into that college. And a couple of regions. But you want to go about choosing those colleges wisely as well, right? You don't want to just choose Harvard just to get into Harvard. You don't want to choose Princeton just to get into Princeton. You want to choose, okay, I want to get into Columbia because it's close to home. Or, I want to go to Pomona because Pomona's far away from home, right? So, you have, for each college, you have to have a reason for going, all right? If it's just to appease your parents, it's a bad reason, right? You have to make them listen. I want to go because there's mechanical engineering, and I really want to be a mechanical engineer, and when I grow up, I want to be earning $40,000 a year. And that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, you have to have a rationale behind each college. Okay, now how do you go about starting the college process? During your junior year, during your summers, your summer, you want to write all your essays. Because when you become a first semester senior, when that school year starts, you're going to be inundated with counselor obligations, right? Hunter makes you do these ridiculous self-reflection essays, and like they make you write out your own resume. Basically, they make you they think this is going to prepare you for writing these college essays, which you've already done. And okay, it helps to a certain extent, but it's more for them because they're going to be writing you a recommendation as well, and they can't know you on a personal level until you've given them something to read. So you have to fulfill these ridiculous counselor obligations. You have to, if you're going to do an HSP, like me, or like a lot of these people did, then a lot of your afternoon time is going to be soaked up by that, and you're going to have your extracurriculars still, and it's just really stupid to leave your college essays to the last minute. A couple of my friends did leave it to the last minute, and it didn't turn out so well for them. I mean, okay, just take my word, it didn't turn out so well for them. And yeah, the smartest thing you can do about the college process is figure out which schools you want to go to, even though you may be unsure. I'm sure that even now you're unsure of which colleges you want to go to, right? You have no idea. But once you start looking at colleges, once you start going on Google Images and start looking at their campuses and their dorms, you'll fall in love with a couple of them. You'll be like, gee, this is where I really want to go. And you focus on those colleges, right? And even if you decide later on, I can't afford it, or my mom really doesn't want me to go because it's a party school and I like to party, then what can you do? You got this essay now, it's junk. But it's not, because most colleges follow a certain template when it comes to the application. So you can recycle papers. In fact, you can recycle some of the essays you've written for your teachers. So it's pretty good. This is why Hunter came in handy. You really learn how to write, and you're really prepared for the college process. Right now, I can't think of what else to say. Oh, SATs! Okay. SATs aren't... I'm going to tell you the truth right now, and I know a lot of parents are going to bite my head off, but SATs, not only are they only part of the picture, they're not even that big a part of the picture, right? Because, okay, you may disagree with me on this, but I think it's like your GPA, right? and then the commitment you put into your community service, your the legitimacy of your extracurriculars, the legitimacy of your classes, and then it's the SAT, right? And if you get like a 2400, good for you. I didn't get a 2400. I got a 2280, and I got a 2210, 800 in the math, 730 in the English, 680 in the writing because I can't write. And then the second time around, I got a 800 in reading, 730 in math, and a 670 in writing because again, that's just as well as I can write. And combined, it comes out to 2280, which compared to the rest of the nation is pretty darn good. But compared to the scores in Hunter, a lot of people are gonna do well on the SATs in Hunter. But I still got into some colleges I didn't think I'd get into, and I wondered why. And then when they sent me their congratulations, you got into whatever college letter, it said, I really liked your essay. I really liked your beef jerky essay. I really liked your the fact that you did the Cooper Union Research Institute program or whatnot. So they didn't really, SATs were good, but I mean, they didn't really look at it. Like what? Like 16, 17 people are going to Cornell, right? 10, 16, 17 people are going to Cornell. So, and a lot of my friends who are going to Cornell, their SATs are around the 2200 range. And in that ballpark, you're probably going to get beaten by your parents. Right? You're not going to be happy with it. So, and they still got into Cornell, which is an Ivy League school. So SATs really aren't that important because they have to be substantiated by everything else you do, right? If you work your entire life, if you spend your waking moment studying for the SATs just to get that 2400, those college admissions officers are going to find every reason why not to choose you just so they can brag to other college admissions officers about how many people who got 2400 that they sliced down. So get a 2390. So that's what I'm saying. Alright? Okay.
Hi everybody. My name is Angela Chang. I am enrolling in Georgetown University School of Foreign Service. I know on the blurb it also says that I got into Cornell. I guess I'll go into that later, but congratulations, first of all, to Hunter class of 2013. You guys have a crazy, insane 6 years ahead of you. No joke. Everybody who goes to Hunter right now can say that. Like, and for those who are going to Hunter right now, congratulations for being here, for staying alive, for you know, doing your thing. Yeah. I'm a senior. I'm ending school in about a week. I'm graduating in less than a month. And, you know, when the end is so close, you start to think back. And you start to think about, you know, these 6 years that you spent at this school. And when I think back, I really, really enjoyed my time at Hunter. I've made a lot of friends, I've done a lot of things, and I got into college, which everybody likes to do, you know? I mean, right off the bat, the first thing I'll say about Hunter is that even if you go to Harvard, even if you go to Princeton, you are never, ever going to find the same concentration of intellect anywhere else. Because at Harvard, you still have the football players that they need on their team. You still have the legacy kids, you know, whose parents and whose grandparents went to Harvard and who will donate buildings so that their future generations can, you know, continue to go to Harvard. You know, but at Hunter, there's nothing like that. I mean, even the elementary school kids, you know, who as of now still have, you know, a free ride into the high school, you know, they still took an IQ test when they were 6 or 5 or something, and you know, it might not sound like a lot, but at least it's something. And you know, you have to take a test to get in. There are no, you know, sort of underhanded bribes to get in. These, you know, sometimes when I look at the people sitting in the hallway, I think, you know, this more than anything else is the future of you know, the world. And I think everyone should take a lot of pride in that. I'm just going to say that right off the bat, you know, so be very proud of yourselves right now. That's one of the things about the college process, is that one of the very, you know, grating, terrible things about the college process is that these people who sit around a mahogany desk look at you and they judge you on whether or not they think you're good enough for them. You know? Like, if you think about that, it's a terrible feeling to think that, you know, your 17 years of life, you know, the things that you did, staying up all night to write that paper, or, you know, helping, you know, tutoring, you know, second graders at a project, you know, they'll look at that on the paper and, you know, you don't know what goes on in those rooms, but you think, these people are deciding my future, and if they don't think I'm good enough, they're just gonna send me a, you know, I'm sorry to inform you that you have not been accepted into our college. And I think you always have to keep in mind that you are fortunate and that you are brilliant. There's no other way to put it. That's another thing about Hunter. You are in a bubble. You have about 200 or less kids in each grade. They are very smart. You know, they are brilliant. But if you think about the world, there are 8 million people in New York City alone. I don't know the census for America, or, you know, for Britain or other countries, other first world countries, China. But, you know, there are a lot of people out there. And this is just a very high concentration of great kids. Okay. I have a question for the kids, maybe for some of the parents too. Who saw Brick Prison these past 3 days? Please raise your hand. Brick Prison. No one. Okay. For those who don't know, Brick Prison is a student-run, student-written, student-acted, and student-directed production of Hunter. It's one of the great things about Hunter that I love. My best friend directed one of the plays. It was actually just the funniest thing in the world. Like, it was so funny. It was about the Supreme Court, and I was crying. It was so funny. She is going to NYU Tisch School of the Arts, which is the best film program in the country, basically. Other than USC, but she was not interested in that school. She's very excited to go there because that's what she wants to do with her life. She wants to go into film. She wants to make independent movies, maybe be a starving artist on the street, but it's her love, you know? One of the people in her plays, his name is Jason Perlman, he's going to Yale. So, you know, if you think, oh, this girl is a director, she only got into NYU. Well, this guy's an actor, and he got into Yale, and he's not going into acting, I assure you. That's not, you know, that's not the major component of his life. Another girl, who is also in one of the plays, also got into Yale. One of the other, Emma Barish. One of the other actors, Evan Maltby, got into Williams College, which is the best small liberal arts college. And, you know, I take that example to say that, you know, theater. Who does theater? You know, like, it sounds kind of Nancy boyish. It sounds, you know, it sounds like what are you going to do? You're going to prance around on stage, right? And just, you know, waste your time when you could be sitting at home and, you know, practicing for your SATs. Well, you know what? Those people who spent their time after school to, you know, practice these plays, you know, Yale, 2 Yales, you know, 1 Williams. I can't think of any other colleges off the top of my head, but I think that should, you know, at least help you understand that you do things to get into college, you do things that you love. And when I see Evan, when I see Jason on stage, they love acting. And something like that really pulls through in your college application. You know, oh, you can be the president of, I don't even know, president of the debate team. Yes, president of the debate team. And, you know, that's great. Actually, that's not a good example, but okay. So let's say, you know, let's say in your college application, you joined the debate team in senior year, right? The debate team is a very, very prestigious kind of club. You know, everybody does it. Hunter does especially well. You know, if you're debating, if you're in these tournaments, that's great. Colleges will look at that and be like, okay, this girl joined the debate team senior year. She's had about 3 months of experience. She's really not doing anything. Okay then, she did this to put this on her college application. Colleges are not stupid. You know, like, you can't really play them. They know what's going on. They read, you know, thousands of applications each year, and they know what's going on. So if you're doing an extracurricular that you hate, and that, you know, would rather, you know, spend time doing something else, if you continue to do it, you know, and put it on your application, they will see right through it. So, you know, that's one piece of advice for you, you know. Do things that you love, because it will be impressive, whatever you do. And if it's something strange, like, you know, and not exactly like extracurricular worthy, like playing lots of video games or something, maybe you can even write your college essay about that. If there's something you are truly passionate about, you know, they will notice it. Another thing, as I mentioned before, I am going to Georgetown, SFS. I don't know how many people have heard of SFS. Georgetown is a school divided into schools. There are different kind of programs for each thing that you apply to. For example, Bill Clinton came from SFS. George Tenet, former CIA director, also comes from SFS. I also got into Cornell College of Arts and Sciences. And to be completely honest, if I can go to 2 colleges, I would go to both of them. Because, you know, Cornell is an amazing school. It's beautiful. It has the Ivy tag, which everybody likes. It's prestigious, you know, people have a lot of fun. It's, you know, but Georgetown was better for me. And I knew that. And I knew for what I wanted to do, which is, you know, international relations or something related to politics, Georgetown was a place I wanted to be. It was a place I was, you know, going to feel at home at. And if that meant, you know, turning down an Ivy League school that so many people want to go to, I was going to do it. So this ties into a point that Kyle made. You know, find a school that you love. You know, your parents will listen to you eventually. My parents did. You know, whether it's Georgetown, whether it's some small liberal arts college in Minnesota, if you think you are going to do wonderful there, and if you truly feel at home at this place that you applied to and that you got into, that's where you should be, and that's where you're going to be the most successful. Because there's still graduate school to think about. And if you hate where your undergraduate school is, your grades aren't going to be great. You're not going to be doing anything. You're going to be sitting, you know, in your dorm room sulking and calling up your high school friends going, "Hey, college," and they'll be like, "Why?" And you'll be like, "Oh, no, you know, like, I wanted to go to Swarthmore, but, you know, my parents just really, really wanted me to go to Dartmouth, and I do not like New Hampshire." And then your friends will be like, "I'm sorry, but that's the decision you made," and you know, you have to enjoy where you are. Happiness is a big component of your life. You know, you can spend your hours doing work and, you know, getting into college and, you know, aiming for the future. But you gotta be happy. I mean, everybody here is a teenager or a preteen. You know how they say it's like the best years of your life or whatever, like college is the best years of your life? Like, you have to enjoy yourselves. You have to take advantage of everything that's around you, and Hunter is, you know, a perfect example. You know, going to basketball games is always interesting. You know, joining clubs that you think are great, that you think, you know, you will have a blast, that you like the people there. You know, do that. Just be happy doing stuff that you want to do. And I know it sounds hokey. I know it sounds like, you know, what is this girl talking about? You know, she obviously just, you know, fluked her way into college. But I think I do know what I'm talking about, and I think it shows. I mean, class selection, for example. I did not take a science. For senior year, I did not take a single science. My course selection was basic calculus, Spanish 5, international relations, which, by the way, we have a 16-page paper due for Tuesday, and AP literature. No science. Not very well-rounded. I had math. That was my saving grace, I guess, but no AP Chem, no AP Physics. Still got into college. They understood that, you know, despite the fact that my dad is a physicist, I do not want to do science in my life. That's not the path that I was following. They saw that, and they agreed. They were like, okay, we're gonna take this girl as she is. So, you know, if you love math, and you love chemistry, and you love the science sector, you know, take the AP Chem, you know, take the AP Bio in junior year, take the calculus, you know. If you want to try AP Lit, go ahead. You read a lot of existentialism in there. It's kind of funny. But yeah, like, just, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but it really is, you know, just show who you are. Because everyone's different. Not everyone has the same interests. Not everybody, there's no single formula that you can follow to get into Harvard, if Harvard's where you want to go. Personally, I don't think they pay enough attention to their undergrad, but I guess Tony will be alright. He'll make them pay attention to him, I think. But probably should have picked a different school. But that's alright. I mean, I feel like I have a lot of things to say, but, you know, prom's on Thursday. That's gonna be fun. Just, you know, 6 years. 6 years is quite a long time for us. You know, it might not be a lot of time for, you know, 50-year-olds or for parents, but, you know, you're going to be spending a lot of time in a building with no windows, no real walls, and rats in the cafeteria. So you might as well enjoy it. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Tom. Alright, so I guess I'll start off by talking about myself. My name is Franklin B. I'm going to be going to school in Pennsylvania, to the Wharton School of Business. What I did in high school was I was the captain of the varsity volleyball team. I played on the team for 4 years. I played on the orchestra for 6 years, playing violin for the first 4, and then switching to viola in junior year, teaching myself how to play. I was also in HUNS, the Hunter United Nations Society, which is one of Hunter's special social studies programs. And it's definitely one of the best programs that Hunter has to offer. What happens is we prepare for the United Nations conference. You know, we take the role of diplomats from all over the world, and then in March or April we go to the United Nations headquarters, and we prepare presentations along with other schools from all over the country. I'm also a fellow of the Washington Seminar, which is another social studies program in Hunter, and definitely the #1 social studies program that Hunter has. What happens is we start preparing in well, in around September, and we prepared to meet very important people in Washington, D.C. People within government, people within international embassies, foreign embassies, and we interview them as high school students. And this is an opportunity that usually only college students, graduate students get, but Hunter especially and exclusively has this program. So if any of you have any questions about these programs later, you can ask me. I also did a Hunter Scholars Program internship at Citigroup Smith Barney, which is a well-known financial firm. And so I've been working with a senior vice president of wealth management there. I get lessons from him on finance, and I prepare research reports for him every week. I'm also a member of the Boy Scouts of America, and I guess that is my main community service activity. I was a junior scoutmaster of a troop in my community, and junior scoutmaster is the highest leadership position that a scout can have. I'm also a candidate for the Eagle Scout rank, which is the highest rank in scouts and also a leadership position that many colleges respect. I also write a column for the school newspaper on Asian American issues. That's supposed to be a monthly newspaper, so maybe some of you have read it. I guess I'm different from most of your children, I guess, in that my favorite subjects are English and social studies. I love to write, I love to read the newspaper, I love to sit and just think about international politics, what's going on in the world, and you know, how that relates to my own life. What I want to say about preparing for the college process is that the college process begins right now. It begins while you're in 6th grade or 7th grade or whatever grade you're in. It begins right here in your head. And it begins by you saying that you will take responsibility for your own education and not your parents. And this I say to parents: take less responsibility for your children. Force your children to take responsibility for themselves. I think the most defining moment of my education was when I said to my parents, I want to stop taking violin lessons. Why is that the most important? Well, it's because I realized that, you know, I'm not a world-class violinist. I'm not going to grow up and play the violin. You know, I think few of us are. And so I said to my parents, you know what? This hour that I'm spending every week playing the violin, it's not something that I want to be using that hour for. I want to be using that hour for something that I want to do. And I think that is something that will happen in your life eventually. That one day you'll realize that you developed your own ambitions, your own goals, and your own plans for your future. And when that happens, then you realize that you're on the road to success, and you're on the road that many of these students travel through. You know, when I think you look at successful students, you know, students who have gone into Ivy League colleges, it's hard to tell, you know, what exactly got them into college. You know, you look at a student who excelled at math and at science, got a lot of awards, and I guess stayed up every night, you know, working on these things. And you wonder, you know, was it the awards that got them in? Or was it the work? Or was it the essays that they wrote about their activities and themselves? You know, what was the thing that college admissions officers looked at and made them decide that this student should go to their college? I think that defining thing is different for every student, and that the only way you can really achieve something special for yourself is if you take responsibility for yourself. One thing I want to talk about is sleep. You know, I fought with my parents a lot about sleep. You know, the ideal amount of sleep for the average teenager is 8 to 10 hours, right? I think so. And I think the amount of sleep that I got throughout high school was maybe 2 to 4 hours, if I was lucky. If I was lucky, maybe 5. And you know, why did I do that? You know, why did I stay up every night, you know, working on my papers? Was it because, you know, I spent too much time playing around? Or was it, you know, really that I just wanted it bad enough? You know, there are a lot of students I know who aren't so successful. And what they do is, you know, when it comes to, when the clock ticks down to, you know, 11 o'clock p.m., they decide to go to sleep because they're sleepy. And, you know, it doesn't really matter to them if there's homework left, if there's a paper left to do. And I think what separates them from what separates us is that we want it bad enough to stay up until, you know, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning doing that work, because it bothers us that this work is going undone. And that is a big part of taking responsibility for yourself. You know, once you decide that you want to specialize in math or science or English or social studies, then you have to dedicate yourself to that path. You know, if you're still spending time, you know, like if you decide that you want to go down the English or social studies path and you're still stuck on, say, the science club, or you're still stuck in, you know, some weekend research seminar thing, then what you should do is say, I quit. I quit doing this thing that I really don't want to do. And what I should be doing right now is focusing on my desires and focusing on my goals. So, you know, making that kind of decision is really what will lead you to what you want to do right now, which is get into a good college. College admissions